Hi, my name is Dr. Michelle Maidenberg, and today I am sitting here with my son. This is my eldest son. You want to introduce yourself?
My name's Addison.
And could you tell everybody where you, how old you are? And
I'm 19. I'm a sophomore at the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what it's been like for you, having to leave school abruptly, and then also, a little bit about maybe some challenges or adversity that you're kind of going through that we could give you some mindfulness activities to help you and others. Is that okay? Okay. So could you share a little bit about what it's like again, because you were in school expecting to be there obviously until May, until the end of the semester, and then having to abruptly leave your friends, again, go on online for, your courses. So could you talk a little bit about what that's been like for you?
So it was a little disappointing having to leave school and leave all my friends. I was really enjoying myself, and it's definitely a big change being around kids that are my age 24/7 to now being back at home with family and siblings without those people anymore. So,
and also being home with us. You could say it's okay. Okay. Anyway. So, now that you're home 24/7, right? And it's not something you expected, and it could come with some boredom, and it could come again, because you still have to keep, kind of abreast of your assignments and make sure that you're doing your studies. So, we've talked a little bit about some challenges sometimes that comes up for you, right? Which is challenges for most people. It's kind of universal, right? So, one of them is, where I really talk a lot about nutrition and exercise, and you've always seen it throughout your life, of course. So could you talk about a little bit about what that's like for you, just in terms, because I know before you were really watching, really trying to be helpful and trying your best to do activity, and now it becomes a lot more challenging. So what that's been like for you?
So now it's very different, because instead of being preoccupied most of the day with classes and work and other stuff and friends, I'm kind of home alone, with just my family, obviously. So there's a lot more time and a lot more alone time, specifically, where I'm just bored and I'll find myself wanting to go downstairs and grab a snack or grab something quick to eat, just because I have nothing else to do or nothing better to do.
Yeah. And boredom is definitely a reason why people tend to kind of snack, right? Boredom, sometimes really intense feelings, which again, a lot of this also comes with intense feelings of being feeling loss and feeling sadness sometimes, right? And then even just impulsivity, right? just feeling you want, just having a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Having kind of either a sweet tooth, right, or wanting something salty or crunchy, right? A craving. That's the word I was looking for. So we're gonna do a little bit of a mindful activity around mindful eating, okay? And it's actually known, there's been studies that show through research that the more that you engage in mindful eating, the better chances that you'll eat more healthfully. And you'll also have gratitude and appreciation for your health, and in addition to that, you will be more in tune with your thirst and hunger, which we're, tend not to be very in touch with that, especially in today's day and age, because there's regimented times that we eat, which is breakfast, lunch, dinner, and having snacks in between. So we don't even gauge sometimes, when we're hungry or thirsty. We eat kind of innately because we think we should or we ought to, or we're kind of trained and it's kind of habitualized. So I have a snack here. It's a healthful one. And don't look at it. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to hand it, and if you could close your eyes, if that's okay. Thank you. So I'm going to put it in your hands, okay? So I want you to first touch it and feel it, okay? And just touch the ridges and notice kind of, is it hard or soft? The kind of components of it. And even just imagining what it must be or what it must taste like in your hands. Okay, so now put it up to your nose, okay, and just smell it, right? And really take in the aromas, whether it smells, salty or sweet or, pungent. and really getting in the different flavors? Were you able to do that? Really think, yeah? Okay. So I'm going to ask you, and you could take a little piece of it off, or, you know, how big, you know, whatever kind of, how big you want it to be. And just to put it in your mouth, not to necessarily chew it, okay, but just to kind of swirl it around your mouth. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And again, don't chew it, just to really, again, take in all the aromas, and how it feels against your tongue, and whether it feels kind of hard or soft, whether it feels kind of pliable or very solid, and just really take it all in. And even like when you close your eyes, and the reason I asked you to close your eyes is sometimes when you're closing your eyes, it's actually it's more of a richer experience. Okay, just do that for a couple seconds, and there may be like this compulsion to want to chew it because you're used to chewing as soon as you put things in your mouth, right? Okay. Okay, now I want you to chew it really, really slowly, okay? Again, noticing your teeth, right? Chewing the food, noticing, again, how it's disintegrating in your mouth, and as you're chewing it, all the different flavors that you're experiencing in your mouth as you're chewing it, right? So it happens to be, which he knows already, it's an apple chip. So, you know, notice the flavor of apple, and notice maybe the flavors of cinnamon and everything. Did you notice that? Okay. So that's a really different experience than as you would normally eat it, right? You'd go, right? And often we're eating on the go, and we don't even pay attention to all the tastes and flavors and the textures of our food because we're so quick at just eating it. And often we'll look back and we won't even remember. We won't even remember like what we ate, when we ate it, how we eat it, right? Because it's such a quick experience. But when you're doing it that way, it really gives you the whole experience of really kind of having gratitude and being with the food, right? And really getting a sense like, am I hungry right now? Or is this thirst? You know, so what was that like for you?
It was interesting, definitely. I can definitely say I've never smelled an apple chip before like that. But it was definitely interesting to feel the texture change, because with like one of these dried chips, they turn from like a chip to like more of a soft, like fruity kind of thing. So it was interesting to get that texture change. I didn't really notice that too much before.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And also when you're saying like it gets, as you're like sucking on it, it almost, you know how those apple rings, those kind of like
softens up.
Yeah, it softens up. It almost tastes like an apple ring, you know, from like an apple chip to an apple ring, which you wouldn't ordinarily know. And if you think about it, if you're sitting down and you're eating like 10 of these apple chips, right? If you ate it really quick, it almost feels like you haven't eaten anything, and you could definitely eat triple the amount without even realizing it. But if you're actually paying attention to it, you're more inclined to eat a lot less and also appreciate the experience more. So it's kind of a double benefit, which is great. Okay, so we're gonna do one more mindfulness exercise. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. So I have a balloon here, which I've said before, balloons are really great as modulating your breath. So even just blowing in and out of the balloon helps you to like kind of keep in tune with your breathing. So I want you to tell me that sometimes we all have negative thoughts about ourselves or about, you know, our experiences, and especially in the, you know, predicament that we're in now. And it could be like, you know, let's say you feel like you're just kind of not very motivated for your schoolwork, right? And you're kind of laying around and saying like, I'm lazy or whatever it is, right? Because that's kind of a normal thought that comes up. And I know that's sometimes something that's a little bit of a struggle, right? Like getting yourself kind of motivated. So what are some of the negative thoughts that you have that come up in your mind? And it could be related to schoolwork or other, like socializing or, I don't know, anything.
Like, how much longer am I going to be able to go on with this staying at home?
Okay, so we ordinarily, this is an interesting fact, we ordinarily think of these distressing thoughts as a question, and it's actually not a question, it's actually a thought that we're having. So could I put that into a thought and you'll tell me if that's more in line with what you're thinking?
Sure.
I won't be able to endure this much longer.
Yeah.
Is that more like it? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on the balloon, I'm writing it down. I won't be able to endure this. Okay, so what else? And anything, like, just to piggyback that, what might happen if you have to do this for a prolonged period of time? Is there any like negative thoughts that you're having about that?
I mean, it's in the best interest of everyone. So.
No, I know, but let's say, you're right. It is in the best interest of everybody, and I appreciate you saying that because you know how I feel about that. And I'm glad that you also feel that way because we're kind of in line with the same values. But, you know, maybe you're having the thought like, I'll fall apart, or like, I don't know. Is there any like really negative thought you're having about if this lasts a really long time, what's going to happen to you or your experience with this?
Like I'm just gonna like drive myself crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll drive myself crazy, right? Drive. And that may come with very scary thoughts too, right? Okay. What else? Anything else? Like, are you fearful that if you're in it, maybe you'll become irritable or you'll act out your feelings and thoughts in some way, you know, or you'll maybe like, you know, I don't know, anything like that? No? What about being motivated? Because that sometimes is hard. Like that won't, you know, not being able to keep up with your schoolwork or not getting the grades that you want or something like that. Is that a thought? Yeah. So what, if we put that into a thought, what might that be?
I won't be able to motivate myself to.
Okay. I won't be able to motivate myself. Okay. So is there any thoughts about your friendships? Like now it's still like in kind of the beginning part of like where everybody's motivated to like FaceTime and, you know, and still keep in touch. But over time, do you think that that's going to still be enduring, or that also people are going to get kind of...
I mean, it's definitely more challenging, like virtually talking to people rather than face to face, but I'm pretty confident.
You'll keep up with that. That's important to you. Okay. Okay. Any others? No? Okay. So the balloon itself signifies our thoughts, right? And sometimes thoughts are not facts, even though they feel, right? They feel like they are, they're really not. They're just thoughts, right? So the idea that I won't be able to motivate myself, right? Remember what I always say? That with motivation comes other motivation. So it's not about being motivated in order to do things. It's doing things and then being motivated, right? So like, if you really thought about this intellectually, do you really think that if you weren't motivated, aren't there things that you could do to get yourself motivated? Probably, right? Or maybe you could ask for our help, you know, Dad's and mine, and then we would be able to help you, right? Or I won't be able to endure this much longer because you know that we don't know how long this is going to last, and you're going to have to endure this for as long as it is, right? But maybe there's a fear around that. Or you'll drive yourself crazy, which I don't even know what that means. But, right? So do you, like really thinking about this, do you really feel like these things may happen, or is it just like a fear?
It's a fear.
Yeah, probably, right? So when we have fears, and sometimes it is a fact, by the way, so then we have to problem solve. But you know, we know that these are kind of fears which are completely understandable to have, and I think everyone would have them. They're very, very understandable. So what we want to do, and this is kind of a nice metaphor, is we want to hold our feelings lightly, okay? We don't want to struggle with them because then they just intensify and then they make us feel bad about ourselves, okay? So we want to like be gentle with them. We want to like be compassionate with ourselves, and we want to just almost as if it's like a leaf on a stream. It's just floating by, right? We don't necessarily have to buy into them. We don't have to act on behalf of them. We just have to observe them, right? So if we were to you want to stand up, right? So if we were to really take this metaphor, right, into action, actively, right? And with movement, I'm going to say, okay? Just entertain me. Right? We could just right? We could have a little fun with it. We could play with it, right? We don't even have to, exactly, right? They're just here. They're not going to hurt us, right? They're just here. Okay, I'm going to catch it, okay? So we could kind of play with them. We could be aware of them. We could hold them gently. We could have compassion for ourselves, right? But we know, that you have the strength, right, to endure a lot and that you will overcome whatever comes your way, correct? Okay, and you could always ask for help if you need it too, yes?
Yes.
Do I get a hug for that? Okay. So a couple of good mindfulness exercises. Thank you so much for participating. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
And again, we wish your families only health and safety. Thank you so much.